More than 1 million people from all across the United States and from abroad set out toward a single destination, a modest Orthodox parish in the small town of Cicero, Illinois. In the spring of 1994, local and national news outlets, starting with Chicago stations like WGN, devoted extensive coverage to a phenomenon unfolding before an immense crowd. A simple painting on wood depicting the Virgin Mary had begun to seep a liquid from its eyes. And this is what makes the case of Cicero so rare. Not a story passed down behind closed doors, but a phenomenon that happened in public, filmed by television cameras before thousands of witnesses of every faith and of none. This video documents what happened, the tests that were carried out, and the details that no one was ever able to explain. The events begin on Friday, April 22, 1994. In the Orthodox liturgical calendar, we are at the end of Great Lent, precisely on the eve of Lazarus Saturday, the day that precedes Palm Sunday. The parish of St. George in Cicero, founded by immigrants from the Middle East, is gathered in the traditional Lenten chants. The pastor and archpriest, Nicholas Doddle, is inside the church preparing for the evening services. With him that day is a guest priest, Father Douglas Wiper, pastor of the All Saints community on the north side of Chicago, invited to assist. As the priests go about their duties, the gaze of some of the parishioners falls on the iconostasis, the great wooden partition that separates the nave from the altar. On the Byzantine icon of the Virgin, just beneath the eyes of the painted figure, faint, glistening streaks begin to appear, as if the wood were sweating. In those first hours, those present assume a natural cause. The church's heating, or the humidity produced by the burning candles, might have created condensation on the protective varnish of the painting. Fathers Doddle and Wiper draw near to examine the surface. The liquid, however, does not evaporate and does not dry. On the contrary, it grows thicker and more visible. At the stroke of midnight, the phenomenon manifests unmistakably before the witnesses. From the eyes of the icon flow 4 distinct streams of liquid, running down the face of the Virgin and along the entire painting, all the way to the base of the wooden frame. Word begins to spread among the families of the neighborhood, and already in the early hours of the morning, several cars begin to pull up near the parish. Faced with an event of this magnitude, the church's attitude is not enthusiasm, but caution. Before speaking of the supernatural, every rational explanation and every attempt at fraud must be ruled out. Skeptics immediately suspect a trick, a hidden reservoir, capillary tubes, some mechanism behind the wall. Father Doddle notifies Metropolitan Philip, who sends Bishop Basil to the site. And the bishop does the first thing the discipline of the church requires. He wipes the oil completely from the face of the icon and performs a rite of exorcism to rule out any deceptive manifestation, because in tradition, deception too can take on the appearance of a wonder. Then he steps away for a few minutes. When he returns, the face of the Virgin is once again streaked with tears. The bishop falls to his knees before the image. Despite every inspection, no mechanism, tube, or reservoir is ever found. Not behind the painting, nor within the wall of the altar. The flow keeps pouring from the eyes of the figure in quantities that a simple wooden board could never physically contain. The priests and witnesses immediately notice a significant detail. The liquid does not behave like ordinary water. It is an oily substance, dense with a sweet and lingering fragrance, identified as Myrrh, the perfumed oil of the Orthodox liturgical tradition. To manage the influx of visitors and allow them to keep a memento of the experience, the priests begin to gently collect the oil with small sterile cotton swabs. In just the first 2 months, the parish distributes more than 100,000 cotton swabs soaked in this oil to the pilgrims. In time, the collected oil, diluted, will be sent to more than 1,000 churches across the United States. As the weeks pass, the daily influx takes on extraordinary proportions. Entire tour buses arrive in Cicero from different states. To maintain order and prevent accidents, the local police must set up barriers, restrict parking on the residential streets, and constantly monitor the entrances to the church, which remains open day and night. And it is not only Orthodox Christians who come. In line, there are Catholics, Protestants, Jews, non-believers, and even clergy of other confessions. Those who were present even recall the dean of the Catholic Cathedral of Joliet among those who wished to approach the icon. An atmosphere of prayer that many described as similar to the great medieval pilgrimages, but this time captured by the lenses of the news cameras and by the snapshots of thousands of ordinary people. Along with the pilgrims, many people come to Cicero marked by serious illness or by deep personal suffering. Some arrive in wheelchairs, others supported by their families, many after years of pain. A great number of them report that after being anointed with the oil of the icon, they felt a sudden inner peace, a relief from their suffering, and in some cases, an improvement that their own doctors struggled to explain. The parish records fill with these testimonies. These are personal experiences, which cannot be presented as certified medical evidence, and it is right to say so. But the emotional and spiritual impact on thousands of families was profound and lasting, and many of those people returned over the years to tell what they had lived through. Metropolitan Philip Saliba, at the time the head of the Antiochian Orthodox Christian Archdiocese of North America, visits the parish of St. George in person. After examining the reports of the clergy and confirming the complete transparency of the community, he formally declares the phenomenon an authentic miracle, naming the painting the Miraculous icon of Our Lady of Cicero. The event had such resonance that, years later, the town administration of Cicero named the street beside the church with an honorary sign, Our Lady of Cicero Court. During the months of the weeping, those who frequented the Church of St. George gathered a series of episodes that are still difficult to explain to this day. One of them concerns a professional photographer called in by Father Dachdal late at night with the church empty to capture the icon in the best possible light. The man, openly skeptical, said before he began, "I can see it, but I don't believe in this kind of thing." He took dozens of photographs. But when he returned with the developed film, the face of the Virgin appeared perfectly dry. Of the tears he had seen with his own eyes, there was not the slightest trace. Shaken, he admitted, "I don't know what to think anymore, but something is happening here that I can't explain." Father Dachdal answered him calmly, "Now you've begun to believe a little. Go and take another picture." The photographer returned before the icon and took one final image. And it is precisely that photograph that to this day shows the tears of Our Lady of Cicero. And then there were the bells. Every now and then, without anyone touching them, they would begin to ring on their own and could not be made to stop. Small signs, recounted by those who were there, that added to that atmosphere in which, for months, the boundary between the ordinary and the inexplicable at St. George seemed to grow thin. But the episode that struck the community more than any other came sometime later. An electrical short circuit set off a serious fire inside the Church of St. George. The flames devastated the interior of the building. Much of the iconostasis was destroyed, and the other icons were consumed by the fire or warped, melted by the heat. When the smoke cleared, among the blackened ruins there remained a single perfectly intact element: the miraculous icon of Our Lady of Cicero. The painting that had wept for months had passed through the fire without a mark, without a single burn. There, where the fire had consumed everything, that image had remained untouched. The weeping icon of Cicero stands as one of the very few cases in the world in which a phenomenon of this kind manifested for so long and so openly. Not in some remote place, but at the doorstep of a great American city, under the cameras of the news broadcasts and before more than 1 million witnesses who came over the course of the years. The extraordinary movement and devotion it stirred remain a testimony to the profound need for spirituality that accompanies the human being even in the heart of our frantic modern society. If this story of faith and devotion has touched you, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our upcoming videos, and turn on the notification bell. Today, we invite you to join us in a prayer of trust and protection for you and for your family. Write in the comments this ancient and profound liturgical phrase: "Under your protection we seek refuge, Holy Mother of God." May the Lord bless us all.